Welcome to Coffee with Blaine. Are we already frozen? That's a great way to start. Just being super freak frozen, yo. How you guys doing today? How's how's my Friday crew? Cheers. Sounds delicious, doesn't it? Can't have coffee without Blaine unless there's coffee. All right. So if anyone is out there watching, please go ahead and drop a comment, say hi. I just want to make sure that the comments are working. So I posed some questions today, and I figured we could use today's live stream to answer those questions because yeah. Hey, Kaylin, Justin, what's up? How you doing? How you guys doing today? Good morning, Jennifer. Cheers to all of you. Maureen, good morning from YouTube. I love it when people come out on YouTube. That's awesome. Speaking of which, let's do this. Captions. We're gonna hit YouTube. Boom. If anyone hasn't yet, please feel free to follow my YouTube channel. Yeah. I'm freezing. It's in the 20s today. We had a dusting last night. A dusting of snow or a dusting of crops. I'm just kidding. It looks so beautiful being from Ohio. Like you get that light coat of frost and snow on everything, and everything looks gorgeous. And then you have to go out on it, and it sucks. So I feel your pain, Kaylin. Yeah, it's always a bummer. All right, guys. I hate snow. People can't drive at all. It sounds like you're from the East Coast. A little bit, Kaylin. Good vibes to you. Good morning. How you doing, Irene? I'm gonna make your comment the comment for now because yay. I like that we can do that. It's fun when I expound upon something to have it up there as a reminder. I've never lived in the snow, so I love it. Yeah, that's that makes sense. Checks out. Oh man. That's a fact. The meme with the truck on top of a guard rail on an overpass was in Virginia Beach. Sounds about right. Always nice to hear from you. Hope all is well. All is well. All I can think of is Silent Night. All is calm. All is bright. All is well. Coffee break. Yeah, upstate New York is beautiful but rough. Definitely. What's new over there? That's what we're gonna discuss. So, did anyone see the questions that I had posed? I actually have to relook it up. So, first question. That's two fingers, but I mean one. I was doing one twice. What is everyone's weekend plans? I probably could have phrased that better. Whatever. What are your weekend plans? Did you have any handiwork in Universe? Yes, I did a little bit for Universe. A couple of the guitars are mine, I believe. I didn't do much. All the cool stuff was the producer. But I did have a hand. Though Matt did an amazing job with the drums on that track. Watching the playoffs. Go Chiefs. Heck yeah. I don't think I have a foot in the playoff game. Unless San Francisco is still crushing it. I haven't been following this year. Got to root for the home team because I lived there. Yeah, Universe is going to be great. It's going to be universal. Not to say anything, but you know, you might catch it at a certain festival soon live. All right, well then, go SF. All right, so this weekend, you guys, we got some playoffs for the Chiefs. We got some other funness. For me, I'll go with my weekend plans while you guys drop some comments about your weekend plans, and then we'll go through them all together. But I know there's a delay in the comments. So today, I guess, is the start of the weekend, right? SF better beat the Packers. Damn right, Justin. Damn right. Today is a work day, but a fun work day. So I have my first gig today at at Rarefied Recording Studios as a session musician. We've recorded there with Hyrie for the past couple albums with a producer that we flew in. But this is my first time working with the house producer and as a session musician. So I'm really excited for that. That's at like 4 today. So I'm gonna run through the tunes, get all the gear in check, make sure I'm properly prepared for the session. And that's a fun thing to mention when you're working on sessions. And just working in music in general, you tend to only get paid for the actual work that you do, but not all of the prep work that you do. So if you wonder why musicians charge a decent amount of money, it's not for necessarily just for the thing, but it's also for all of the practice and prep to get to the point of that thing. That's why doctors charge so much, because they literally had to go through all of this expensive ass education. Same thing with lawyers. There's a lot of money being spent and a lot of time being spent. So it's a very highly skilled labor. Same thing with music, but unfortunately, unlike with doctors and lawyers, you can't really charge that much. But and then everyone seems to think music, doesn't come at a cost, or your time doesn't come at a cost. But in reality, for the amount of money that you make, even if it seems high to someone, there's a reason for that. All right, let's look at a couple comments here. Jake, good morning. Becky, good morning. This weekend, I might go visit some friends I haven't seen since the beginning of COVID. That sounds awesome, Maureen. I like that. I'm also making kombucha this weekend. Jennifer, that's awesome. Making stuff is cool. Seeing friends is cool. I like all of that. Today, I will be making stuff, music. Tomorrow, I will be seeing some friends, I believe. I'll be going to the Reptile Show in Pomona, California, with a couple of friends and look at some snakes. And then might run into my buddy Hydro. If you remember, I produced his single and co-wrote his single Determination from his last album. If you haven't checked that out, definitely a fun one. I really like the flow on that. Most people think musicians are automatically rich, or they assume that music is just a throwaway commodity and should be free, and all the work should be free for some reason. It's weird. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, so that's Saturday. That'll be super fun. And then on Sunday, I'm not quite sure what's going on Sunday. I know something's going on Sunday. Oh, I'm going to go have dinner with Christy's uncle, great uncle. So that'll be fun. Welcome, my lonely Twitch follower. Thanks for hanging out. Yeah. So that is my weekend. It sounds like everyone has at least something to look forward to this weekend. And if your weekend is boring, just rebrand it. Call it relaxing. It's all about the marketing, really. If you can let your brain know the positives of any situation, even if it's mostly negative, it's good to keep you from having things be any worse. All right, so that's our first question. Let's look at our second question. What accomplishments are you proud of this week? I know this reads like a cheap high school guidance counselor form. It's amazing that these simple, stupid questions are like the legit questions of living better lives. Who'd have thought that they kind of got it right? Happy Friday, Mickey. Good morning. My weekend is full of work. Is your weekend full of horses too, Caitlin? I'm back to working every other day. That's not bad, Becky. Every other day is kind of cool. Unless you're taking a severe pay cut, in which case this might be a great opportunity to work on a side hustle or some things around the house that you've been wanting to do for a while. All right. So things that happened this week that you're proud of. Not when you work 24-hour shifts. Oh, I get it, Becky. I get it. Yeah, that is super rough. And at least you're doing something that's, I'm assuming you work in the medical industry, probably a nurse RN. Can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, those are rough shifts. And hopefully you're getting compensated correctly for that, for sure. And hopefully you can take that extra money and do something fun with it, or give your kids the gift of something fun. Paramedic, yes, that's right, Becky. That's right. I remember now. Yeah, that's a crazy tough job. Saw my first Tool show on Wednesday. Wow, I just blew right into that mic, didn't I? That's awesome, Justin. Hell yeah. I have not seen Tool live. I want to. They were just in was it Sacramento, right? Were you at that show? Biggest accomplishment was surviving the work this week. That's great. Yeah, you put in a full freaking week. That's something to be celebrated. You made it. You made it through the stress. You overcame the obstacles. You solved the problems, and you earned the income. That's cool. I'm working on a data collection form for work, and this week I finally got it to look the way I wanted. Nice, Maureen. Yeah, that's something to be proud about. I like it. It's definitely good when you have stuff to be proud about. All right, so here's what I'm gonna try to do. Let me think about this for a second. Oh yeah, so for work for me, I got in on Wednesday morning, so my week has been a little bit skewed. But since I got back, I have got the studio semi put back together, which is a plus. Ooh, Jennifer, I cut gluten out of my diet to see how my body responds. Not sure if that's an accomplishment or not. Yeah. Anything that takes significant effort to do. and cutting an entire line item from food is a very difficult thing to do. So I commend you on that. Speaking of which, I did something similar this week. When we got back, I hit the gym for the first time in a while since this whole vacation extravaganza began, which was super nice. And hit the gym yesterday, actually. And I readjusted my diet to going back to better food. Not better food, because the food we had in Colombia was amazing. But I just cut out the snacks, if you will, and the excess food. So I've been doing just coffee in the morning with my heavy cream. That sustains me all morning. Then like a protein shake midday, and then like an early dinner somewhere around between like 4 and 6 o'clock, like old people dinner. And yeah, keeping all the eating kind of in that window, and haven't been snacking, which is good, because I'm when I was really focused on my physical health, I was right where I wanted to be with my body and body weight and all that stuff, as far as not carrying the excess fat. I don't worry if it's weight put on my muscle, but yeah, so I'm starting my journey to get back there, to reclaim that physical side of my health. And snacks are awesome. They are. But yeah, kind of in this like fasting-esque type of thing. Have my coffee between 8 and 9, and I'm done eating by between 4 and 6, which is cool. Tool is an SD in the Vegas Arena. That's, yeah, Danny Carey is amazing. The drum and bass of Tool are everything. That's cool. That's super cool. But yeah, so I'm proud of that. Definitely. I'm proud of getting back into work and diving in. I got I'm currently diving in a project, a song for Rebecca Arscott, 2 of them. Been diving deep. Had a huge setback the other day where all the audio files for my session for the artist disappeared. and I was freaking out. Good morning, Lindsay. How you doing? And so this was 2 nights ago. I just got everything loaded up, set up, ready to go. And then I went to save it, and there was some weird error, and the whole session was gone. I could open the session, but all the audio files were missing. So I did a little research because remember how we talked about planning? Planning is the best way to set yourself up for the future, and that's why people are considered, super lucky or super well off. A lot of times it's just because they planned out ahead of time, knowingly or unknowingly, to set themselves up. So a while ago, it's story time, guys. A while ago, I was on. What was I on? I was on a different computer. I think some of you may know that I had a much it was a good computer. It just didn't have that much space on it, much storage on it. So I paid for the Dropbox yearly program, the paid tier or whatever. And I decided, because Dropbox integrates with your Mac really well, to save space when I do sessions, I'd have all my Logic sessions stored on Dropbox. And I would, there's a handy sync feature in which you can bring the files onto your computer, download them to your computer from the cloud. They show up there all the time for access, but they're not stored on the computer unless you want them to be. And then when you're not using it, you can uncheck that, and it still looks like a normal folder in your thing, but it's just it's stored in the cloud. iCloud's kind of doing the same thing right now. But anyway, so I did that a few years ago, and it was a great way to help me manage all the space for all these large session files, amongst other things. Well, what I didn't know is Dropbox has a version history that's stored on the cloud automatically for you. So as you work on something, you can go back in time and find a previous iteration of the file that you have. And it's just included service. So yesterday, I went back in. Good morning, Geraldine. And I found the Dropbox file, and I went back to a previous version the day that I originally opened it, before I did any of the work. And I pulled up that version and then opened that, and then all my audio files were there. And so I had to re-import the things that I was working on and then redo the work. But luckily this time when I went to save it, it saved just fine. And I also, saved a backup folder just in case. But super stoked that all the audio files worked out. That was really cool. But yeah, so that's a fun thing. So I prepped by using Dropbox to back stuff up. And then when it happened, it saved my ass in a way that I didn't even realize that it could save my ass, which is awesome. So I prepped for one thing, but I prepped the right way because it took care of another issue down the road. And what could have been a devastating day yesterday was a good day of getting and upgrading and doing all the things with my thing, with my song. Lindsay, those damn matrixes. Yeah. Trouble Cliff. Heck yeah. Morning, bro. How you doing? Very Blaine of you. Yeah, it's very Blaine of me. But yeah, show off. No, I'm just, you could say it's luck. Or you could say it's just my anal retentive attention to prepping. Not like a prepper. Like I don't have like a end of the world survival kit. Though I think there's like 100 5-gallon jugs of water underneath the house from when the owner was kind of prepping for stuff. I bet you there's a bunch of canned food there and some guns, I think. So good days, great times prepping. Speaking of which, have you guys either this week or maybe even farther down the line, have you guys had any moments like that where previous you have saved current you's ass? And while you talk about that, I'm going to talk about some other things that I've done because I need to fill an hour. You're doing the same thing, Lindsay. So I'm going to share this anyway, Lindsay. She's been on the job hunt in SD to find something that fits her schedule, raising her son, and his school schedule and stuff. And she just moved down to SD not too long ago, and she's been furiously and feverishly searching for jobs. So she got the invitation for a job. I'm telling all your secrets, Lindsay. She got an invitation for a job, which seemed super promising. But instead of just being like, all right, I got this job info, I'm going to stop applying, she decided to continue applying for other jobs in hopes that maybe she could land one with even more flexible hours and better pay. But she was going to take this job anyway, but keep applying. Well, there was some instances in which basically the job just ghosted her because she had gotten sick, and then she needed all this PCR testing and stuff. I'll let you put the pieces together to be able to fulfill the job, which pushed out her start date like 2 or 3 weeks. Well, in that 2 or 3 weeks, middle management, because a lot of companies are very bloated in that department. Not all, but some. Had miscommunications with her direct hiring person, and they hired someone else right out from under her. There it is, Lindsay. And luckily, because she had kept applying, she got an offer for a couple interviews scheduled for an even better job, making more money with less demanding work. And that, Lindsay, is the exact same prepping that I do. And you saved future you's ass by doing that. Because if you would have just put those weeks off, you would have missed all those potential opportunities. Exactly, Kaylin. And that bigger, better things coming her way are not just coming her way because she just sat around. They're coming her way because she was active and doing the things to invite that type of thing into her life. All right. Anyway, so it's not just me, guys. It's not just me. Let's go into here. I got my pedal board going for sax, just playing around with it now, prepping for live gigs where I'm not tap dancing, trying to figure shit out in real time. So, yeah, bro. One of the things that I've done is if I'm doing multiple effects at the same time, and this is an investment, is there's a thing called a switcher or a looper. And it's not a looper like you loop a section of tunes and it plays it back for you. Those are also loopers, or technically loop stations. But a looper is basically a big thing with a bunch of switches on it. And each switch has its own dedicated loop, and you can run effects pedals through that loop. So if you have combinations of pedals that you want for specific songs or that you use often, you run them into a loop, and then instead of tapping every pedal that you need, you can hit that one switch, and it'll turn on. The pedals are already on, they're just out of the loop, and you can bring them in to the signal chain and then take them out when you don't want them anymore. So if you're like, I always use for my lead sax, I always use delay and a little bit of compression. You can put those on a loop, you can put those on a switch, and then you can bring them into the loop. Same thing. And then your single pedals that you only use by themselves, you don't need to bring them into the loop. But a bonus benefit of having the looper, have I said loop enough, is that when the pedals are not in the loop, they aren't changing the sound of your sax or guitar in my case, which means that, like, if I turn a pedal off, the signal is still running through the pedal. If I turn the pedal on, the signal is still running through the pedal. And if you run through a bunch of pedals, it can increase your signal chain length and make your signal weaker and or more colored in a way that you may not like. If you have the looper, when all your pedals are off or out of the loop, even though they're on, your signal goes straight through the looper right into your whatever, into the house mix or your amp or whatever. So it's the most direct signal path. All you're doing is passing through the looper in a true bypass mode. Then when you bring something into the loop to use the effects, then you're running through the pedals. So it actually cleans up your sound if you're getting, and if you have a noisy pedal, if it's not in the loop, then it's not affecting the noise when it's not on. Wireless mic receiver into a Zoom X4 into a Soul Pog into a Butron Nano. Pretty clean, just playing around with the signal chain. Heck yeah, man. Heck yeah. I know that Chris on sax used to use a compressor a lot, using pedals as well. Compressor and delay were his two favorites, and a harmonizer, actually. Those were his three favorites. But the compressor just kind of evens out the signal and helps keep the level where it needs to be, and stops you from like clipping stuff. So it's a good tone shaper idea, especially if you're running a bunch of synth effects. If you run the compressor after the synth effects, synths and filters, it's going to help dial down the peaks and the valleys of the filters. I always use a compressor after my wah pedals and my envelope filters for that same reason. Drinking game of everyone take a shot when you hear loop really screwed up my day today. Yeah, this is a little early for a coffee drinking game, Lindsay. You can pick your poison, Kaylin. So it sounds like people have gotten a lot of cool stuff going on. I thank you for sharing, by the way, bro. I appreciate that. So while we were on vacation, I was having a lot of fun doing Baileys in my coffee. Yay, Baileys. Breakfast of Champions. Yeah. All right. So does anyone else have anything else as far as accomplishments that you're proud of this week? If so, pop them in. Last question. Have you made any progress with your 2022 goals? Oh, boom. Island Island Asylum, or Anthony is the guy's name, is in the virtual house and just released his second single. Hell yeah. I woke up every day, so that's good. Yeah, it is. Let me see. It is, Kaylin. It is. I feel like you'd benefit from just going out of your way to do something exceptional for yourself. What can you do that's just exceptional for you? Unless you really like exactly where you are and what you're doing. If that's the case, then just keep doing it. But if you feel stuck, what are you doing for that? Not a damn one. I did, however, have a good conversation with a photographer friend of mine involving one of your beautiful girlfriends' project. Oh, that's cool. Heck yeah, Lindsay. So many projects. She is working overtime with a bunch of different clients for their PR and marketing needs, for sure. Let me see. No, I don't think it's on YouTube yet. Bummer. Not miserable, but not super happy. Not really stuck, but won't be here forever. Heck yeah. Yeah, you got to keep the this too shall pass attitude for sure. She does. She does. It's very inspiring, honestly. My personal goals aren't really going anywhere, but I haven't really put myself out there yet. So there's that. Okay. Well, how about let's challenge ourselves to do that. I think that would be awesome. We should do one thing towards our goals this week. Just something, anything. Because a goal is just a dream until you put in the effort, right? You got to set yourself up, even if it's just something to help push something else along. For instance, if you're like, oh man, I can't do anything for my goal because if let's say it's a money oriented goal because I'm still treading water to get my normal expenses paid. Well, maybe go through and line item things out and see what you can cut back on or suspend on expenses you're already paying. Or maybe you can go through and you can find a way to earn a quick extra few bucks, like spring cleaning out the house and throwing it on OfferUp or Facebook Marketplace. Or maybe there's one that maybe you could just find out exactly what your situation is if you're not sure, and run through a budget. That's a money related thing, but you can do the same thing basically for anything else, because most of the time goals involve either money or time. The goal is to get to Cali and enjoy yourself. Yes. Yes. I do have good work ethic. I love that. It is terrifying. I'm going to put this up because this is important. This is what we're talking about. Yeah. Has anyone else made any accomplishments towards their goals? My goals involve no money, which is a problem, which isn't a problem. That's good. That's good. You can pick goals that are not dependent on external factors. That's cool. Yeah, Kaylin, you are not a lazy person. You are all not. Sometimes for me, it's taking all this energy that I have, this work ethic that I have, and funneling it into the right things. Like I can have a day, right? And I can be like, oh, I worked all day, but I still have so much left to do. Well, part of that, if I'm feeling unaccomplished, even though I worked my ass off an entire day, it probably is because I didn't prioritize the things that I needed to prioritize for working that day. So I've had days where I have a bunch of stuff due, and I spent the entire day cleaning. Or I've spent the entire day rearranging something that didn't necessarily need rearranged. Or I could have spent some of the time doing that and dove into other things. Because the stuff I had on priority, I didn't touch either because I was afraid to get started. And I use afraid loosely. I was just resisting getting started because it seemed daunting, or I didn't feel that I had enough time. All the excuses, right? So I just did something else because I do have to be busy. But if I just dive into the things that are most important, I make a list of like, this is the most important stuff, and I dive into that, I feel so much better than when I just dive into something. Now, I don't ever feel like necessarily horrible because I did something, but I don't want that something to be just for the sake of doing it. I want it to be for the sake of accomplishing something long term. So yeah, if you're at the point like me where you have that work ethic, it's just a matter of funneling that work into the right places in the right ways. Kaylin, replying to Lindsay. Yeah, Blaine, what do you do to de-stress? What do you do to relieve stress? It's a great question. I'll link the original one and not the prompt. I have structured my life in a way to be as stress-free as possible. I am very fortunate that right now I don't have a lot of circumstances in my daily life that are overly stressful, or that I have gotten myself into a situation that I can't deal with reasonable stress levels. So I would assume that would be number one, and that goes back to kind of prepping stuff, right? So like not putting the stress on in the first place is way better than anything you can do to relieve it. So I try to set myself up in that way. Once I am stressed, though, because there's stress in life no matter what. Yeah, exactly, Jennifer. But yeah, there's stress no matter what. So things that I can do to relieve stress is playing with my animals, taking breaks from the stressful part of my existence to spend a little time doing stuff just for me. Sometimes I like to clean and rearrange stuff and optimize things. It's stupid, but it makes me happy in my it helps me de-stress. Chrissy's the same way. Cleaning, simple tasks that you can do to relieve stress is great. Yeah, the animals can cause stress. Don't get me wrong. But for me, it's a welcomed a welcome thing, unless there's a huge issue with the animals. Yeah, so like yesterday, one thing I've been. This is a stupid stress, by the way. People have really important things that they stress over, but one thing that was really bothering me and causing me undue stress was I have this cool headphone amplifier. So the headphones that I'm wearing go into this headphone amp, and you can plug in 8 different headphone sets into it for studio work. So if I'm working on something and someone wants to listen, but there's an active mic going on, we can both plug into different headphones from the same out, if that makes sense. But there was some significant noise going on in the unit, and it's always bothered me because if I'm doing sessions, I don't want a person to think that noise is being recorded if we're doing a recording session, or that noise is interfering with the performance in some way. So I have it on a rack on my desk. You can't really see it per se, but it's there. And I wonder, I have a 2 camera setup right now. Let me see if I can mess with that. I'm going to try this, so bear with me. All right, so I have a second camera here. It's normally for lessons that I had set up. This is something else that I did, by the way. So I have this second camera set up so that I can bounce to it. Oh, and let me switch back here. Actually, no, I'm going to stay on this one. And for lessons, it's so that people can see my fingers more clearly. And in the videos, when they're watching back, they can see exactly what I'm doing. And yeah, it makes me happy. So let me take this camera. So right here, there's us, by the way. Right here is my headphone amp. You can see I have my headphones plugged in right here. Here's the volume. Here's the master volume for all the headphone sets, and it runs out of this interface through that little plug into this. And instead of just having one camera, or instead of just having one option for headphones, I have multiple options for headphones. Let me switch this camera back. All right, boom. So I was getting noise out of that, and what I realized is one, there's a lot of electrical sources going on. So I played around with plugging it into different power conditioners and moving the location of it so it's farther away from things that are, creating sources. But what I found out is it's just kind of noisy. And one of the reasons that it was kind of noisy is because I didn't have the headphone gain cranked out of the interface. I had it semi-cranked, but then I would crank the headphone amp, and the higher I pushed the gain, the more noisy it was. But the higher I pushed the gain on the interface to feed into it, the less I had to crank the gain on the actual unit, and it was significantly more quiet. So playing around with that really, really helped, because now there's a tiny bit of noise, but not really, now that I got that figured out. And it makes me super happy, because now when I have sessions, I won't feel as bad, and you can give it a little volume. And you have to really, really crank it before it becomes an issue. Probably way higher than it ever really needs to be. But yeah, can you have both cameras playing at once on the restream? I don't know. Probably have to pay for it in some aspect or another, I'm guessing. I need to fix my headphones. Yeah, me too, Lindsay. I'm still on that search. I'm borrowing PJs right now until I order some new ones on Monday. I don't know about both cameras at once. I know on Zoom there's an easy switch between them, which is nice. And I got this additional camera set up for lessons, and I'm starting to do that. I started to do that with my lessons yesterday, which I'm really happy about, to have that close-up of guitar thing. That way, it's much easier for my students to see stuff when I'm demonstrating it. But yeah, I'm excited about that. It was a camera that the people at Mellify got me. If you're interested in guitar lessons, mellify.com. Hit them up or hit me up and I'll direct you there. Yeah, good stuff. But yeah, so when I reorganized my desk to get a little more space, I moved my computer to the center of the desk. That's probably why you don't notice as much of the reptile tanks over there. And it's much easier to look straight on at the camera than slightly angled where it was. Yeah. Yeah, so these are the same Tascams, Lindsay. But yeah, I'm just slowly going through, doing some physical rearranging of stuff, as always, to calm my nerves. I always feel better when I can just plug in and do something without having to do a bunch of work. I mean, I do the same amount of work. It's just, if it's done when the inspiration strikes, it's much easier for me. Yeah. So de-stressing. The other thing I like to do is kind of remove myself from situations here and there when I'm overly stressed. Great question. What else we got? What else we want to talk about? Anything? We good? So, Sunday morning, 9 a.m. Speaking of what did you do this weekend, or what are you doing this weekend? I am chatting with Anthony from Island Asylum, right here on your platform, Lifes, and we are going to talk about all the fun things involved in his creation of this really fun, unique blend of music. I want to see Blaine teach a 3-month-old how to shred. 3 months might be a little difficult. I have taught 2-year-old toddler intro to music classes for a music studio that I worked at in Napa when I was in the Bay Area. And that's a lot of work. It's fun, but it's a lot of work. Luckily, I was just subbing in on a few classes for the the owner of the studio. I normally just taught like private things and did book work for her. Speaking of de-stress, as soon as I get done with this live stream, I'm going to go in and I'm going to play with my snakes, change their waters out, check them out, hang out with them for a bit. Thank you guys for chatting with me. Always fun to fill an hour with you. If you guys have individual things that you are stressed about, what's the youngest age you work with? Generally, when I'm doing online lessons, sorry, Kaylin, thank you. Generally, when I'm doing online lessons, I need the student to be at least old enough to sit still and to be able to focus on the lesson screen, what we're doing. If a parent sits with the child in the lesson to work with them, that's always cool too. But just in general, they just need to be able to sit and work the computer at least enough to get the lesson done, or have somebody with them to do that, and have the attention span to kind of get something out of it. 5 or 6 in some cases, 8 to 10 in other cases. In person, it's much easier, and I'll work with just about anyone who's interested. In the case of kids, it may last a week, it may last a month, it may last 10 years. Who knows? But, give it a shot, and that's all you can do. And then if they get interested in it again or something similar, give it another shot. I always say, if there's a want there, let them explore it. Because part of learning things about life is learning what you enjoy and learning what you thought you might enjoy but don't enjoy. Just learning stuff. So I always try to make it a positive environment for the student to explore stuff, and I don't expect everyone to be Mozart or whatever. I don't know. Hopefully that answered your question, Jennifer. If you want, you can always shoot me a DM, and we can chat more about it. Yeah. Well, oh yeah, Lindsay. Honestly, you can start him out with a practice pad and a couple sticks. He doesn't even need an actual kit. And maybe picking up something like a snare drum and marching band or something like that would be great. I will forget, Kaylin. I have the memory of a goldfish, which is longer than 3 seconds. But it's a good adage. Exactly. See? Practice pads aren't expensive either. I think I have one. I do, actually. 1 second. Practice pad. Just throw it down here. Grab a couple sticks. I'm sure you have access to sticks. You probably have access to a practice pad as well, Lindsay. Oh, speaking of de-stress, my nephew said they want to learn, but I don't know how serious they are. Yeah, you never really know until they're in the situation. I feel like a good indication of time is 1 to 3 months. If you can get them to commit to 1 to 3 months of working on stuff, something, it should give you a really good vibe as to as to where they are. Sometimes students will struggle a little bit the first, couple times they try something, but then find that they excel. But if you cut them off too early, you never really know. But also, you don't want to drag them out in something they'll hate forever. Like forcing somebody to do something is an easy way to get them to resent it. It's not always true. You can always pick categories and say, hey, you need to learn like maybe another language, or you need to learn basic budgeting, or you need to learn how to manage your money, or you need to learn how to at least get some physical activity in. You need to learn how to do something in the arts, whether it be drawing, painting, music, something exploratory. And those can rotate until they find what their thing is. So you can give a general thing of like, here's the skills that I feel like will really prep my child for the best possible thing. But within that, offer them flexibility, let them try some stuff out. Yeah. He's got sticks, need a pad. Yeah. Just Amazon drum pad. I'm sure they're not too much. If you want to get the quality ones, Vater, Vater, is a good quality pad. There's also a little thing you can eventually mount it to a stand, or you can there's a pad, you can tabletop it. Exactly how I started. Drumline was a blast, and anything can be a pad. That is true too. You could probably Google DIY drum pad if you wanted to. You could get on Craigslist. That's probably a really cheap option. Yeah, maybe Matt has an extra snare drum that he's not using in a little stand, and you can just set it up for your son with a big ass towel over it, and then he can just practice on the snare with the towel. Yeah. Also, if you need a pad in the meantime, you could probably borrow mine. Tana knows what's up. Yeah. Yeah. Just let me know if you need to borrow the pad for a month or two or whatever while you get something. I have access to drums, so if I get the urge. All right, guys. Appreciate all of you guys. I need to get on with my day. I got the session I got to prep for. I got my next little project. Speaking of my headphone amp, I have my little Amazon tap here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this up to one of the outs of the headphone amp. And I'm going to set it here. And then when I'm recording or playing back music, I can switch between my big studio monitors and then my smaller little speaker, because the smaller speaker is how most people are going to listen to music. And I have the headphones, so I can listen on all three devices to make sure that something is sounding good in every context. So that's my goal today for my little fun de-stress project. Thanks, Kaylin. I'm working on it. I pulled out a couple of tunes the other day as well. I've been way deep back in the studio mode, so keep a lookout. Island Asylum should keep you tided over for the moment, and then be on the lookout for a bunch of Weech tunes in the next couple months as well. All right, guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I really appreciate all of you. You guys are amazing. If you have any ideas for topics, feel free to DM me. And if you want to really help with my projects and help me succeed at creating this art and employing other people who have amazing skills and artistic talent, please go to patreon.com/DillingerMusic and check out all the cool stuff that I have there. Appreciate all of you. Happy Friday. Have a great weekend, and we'll chat soon.